from Worcester Polytechnic Institute today. Craig is a professor of computer science at the UTI. He does research on internet application performance and measurement with more recent work examining issues related to internet privacy. He has specifically examined the leakage of private information to third parties when users browse the web, what is done with this information by third parties, and what interested users can do to prevent it. So, thanks, and welcome, Craig Wells.
Thank you all. Thank you for having me. Sorry for the glitches. I thought my laptop worked, but it didn't. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some work that I have done and am doing regarding internet privacy. As I say to people, I didn't wake up one day and start thinking of I want to do research in privacy. I really come from, as Carolyn said, in terms of my background, is very much internet measurement. When the web came along, the web is a very large distributed system. I'm a distributed systems guy, and we try to measure it and improve its performance. And over time, trying to understand, well, geez, what are all these other servers that are being contacted when I go to sites like CNN and stuff like that? And what are they doing, and what's happening with my information? And so that's really where kind of things grew out of. Some of the work, particularly a lot of the work early on, was done with Bala Krishnamurthy. I know Bala gave a talk here a month or so ago on some stuff. So a little bit of this is overlap with some of the stuff that we've done, but also a lot of stuff that I've done since. So it's really kind of three parts I'm going to talk about here, and we'll see how we do on time. So I'll start off and give a little bit of kind of some background and in a sense where things are. So back in 2005, the first paper we did was trying to understand what are the set of third parties that are out there. So again, you go to a first party site, you go to CNN, that's a first party site. The set of servers that are on that site that your browser goes to, those are third parties. Okay? Bala and I coined something called a privacy footprint at that point. Basically, where is the footprint of our activities going when we go to various sites? And so we had 1,100 odd servers that we put together from using popular Alexa sites in 2005 and continued to use exactly the same set since 2005. Okay, some of them have gone away, no longer functional, so it's a little bit odd there. So kind of periodic data gatherings of what third parties are present there. I'll also include a little bit of results here from basically the same methodology. What are the set of sites that were popular in 2012? And look to see what we come up with there. So here is a kind of a long-term, who are some of the top players in terms of servers that are out there. So on the y-axis, first-party server extent, and along the x-axis here are over time since October 2005. The last data gathering we have is August of 2013 here. So Google Analytics and DoubleClick have grown and continue to be taught. What I'll point out over here and on the right is kind of some updated statistics from those 2012 sites, the more current sites, so that right now, it shows here in kind of green that Google Analytics on the current set of popular sites is present on 64% of those sites, of 1,000 plus sites. The top 10 third parties right now are on the order of 92% of the sites that are out there. Okay. The other thing that we did is we tried to not just go ahead and have these based upon particular servers, but also grouping them according to their company. At what we originally called these empires, that was considered a little too negative a term, so we picked the word families as being a little more friendly and things. I'll just point out that, again, unfortunately, in the green there, on the current set of popular sites, there is a Google property on 87% of the first-party sites that are out there on the net right now, in terms of popular sites. Okay? By the way, you're welcome to ask questions. Yes, sir. Thank you.
What does Google property mean?
Belonging to Google. Google Analytics, DoubleClick, Google AdSense.
Okay.
Okay. At one point we tried to analyze, okay, who are those set of properties? So here's FeedBurner, DoubleClick, YouTube, Google Analytics, Google Syndication, all being here. This one's actually a little less interesting because right now the yellow overlap, dominates here. Overlap simply means there are multiple Google properties on that particular site. So increasingly we see more and more of that. Okay, one of the things that I did recently here to try to understand is say, well, okay, what are these different third parties out there doing? All right, and so instead of looking at the names or the service that there is, well, what are they doing? And so I identified four kind of types of third parties. All right, from our own knowledge and by other folks are out there that have done some classification. So there are sites that do analytics. Things like Google Analytics, Omniture, RMR Worldwide are prominent ones. Those that serve ads and track people. So DoubleClick, Google Ad Services, ATMD. Tracker sites. There are sites out there that basically track activities without directly serving ads to users. And then there are social sites. We all know there are many sites that it's possible that we can go share or link or connect with our favorite social networking site based upon many other first-party sites. And so trying to look at how the growth of these different kind of categories have developed over time. Okay? And so what this shows is, first of all, the kind of green line, the green line are the ad trackers. So if we go back to 2005, that was the most predominant kind of sites that we see, that were serving ads and tracking user activity at that time in order to directly serve an ad. Okay? The red line we see was relatively small back in 2005. Now it is the most widely kind, almost 80% in our 2005 set of sites, 83% in our current set of sites. Okay? These trackers have gone from almost nothing up to, in the current set, 61%, and social networking at almost 50% here, or 49%. Okay? So different kinds of sites doing a number of kinds of things out there. Yes?
So, for example, for the social networking site, does this mean that there's like just a Facebook like or a Twitter tweet?
Yes.
Does this mean that these sites are using some kind of cross-tracking?
So in the specific case of Facebook, if there is the Facebook like button or the Facebook connect button there, and that button is being served from Facebook, then a Facebook server is knowledgeable that we have gone to, say, CNN.com. Okay, and I'll use CNN as my kind of running first-party example here.
Even if I don't click on the button?
Even if you don't click on the button, Facebook is aware of that. We'll actually come back to that very question of, well, what does Facebook do with that? And that pretty soon here, I'll get to that point. Okay? But they are aware of it, and Facebook will set a cookie. Facebook will set a unique cookie on your browser so they can connect that notion that I've been to CNN when ultimately, if I do log on to Facebook, they're in a position to be able to connect those two. Okay, that's the first part. Okay, so that's kind of some updates of stuff that we've done. The second part of the talk, so one of the questions, I've given lots of talks about this information's going here, it's going there, and a quite logical explanation that people will say, well, what are they doing with it? Is Facebook doing anything with the fact that they know that I went to CNN? Okay, so the next thing that we looked at recently with a student is trying to understand what is done with the information that these third parties are getting. Okay? So we put together a study. So they're certainly in a position, these third parties, to infer our behavior based upon the set of sites we go to. In some cases, they know information about ourselves, and I'll talk about that here a little bit. So that really, this portion and this particular piece of work has to deal with understanding what the advertisers, actually do with the information available to them. All right? And so I'll spend a good amount of time here talking about this. One of the things that's interesting is some of these ad networks have something that we'll call generically an ad preference manager. They'll tell you what they know about you. Okay? And we'll also look at Facebook in terms of what they do in terms of serving ads based upon what they know.